Hi, it's Jordan Teen 1, and in this video I'll be showing you how to make this cute little wreath magnet for the holiday season. So I will be using a ring magnet, and here's what it looks like. And I will show you the package. It is super magnets made by the Magnet Source, and these are bigger than the ones I've been using in my figure videos. So these are 0.75 inches for the outer diameter and 0.375 inches for the inner diameter. And they do say extremely strong magnets, not for children, because they don't want kids to get their fingers pinched. And these are very strong. They're actually a lot stronger than the smaller magnets that I had been using in my other videos. And if you don't have access to magnets, that's perfectly fine. You can still make this cute little wreath magnet. All you need is a washer of similar proportions. So you can go to your local home improvement store, or maybe you already have them around your house, and look for something that's about the same size, about 3/4 of an inch for the outer diameter. You do want to make sure that the inner diameter is wide enough that you're able to work by putting the bands through here. Now this is the one I'm going to be showing you how to make today, but of course you can change it up to give it a little bit of a different look, and I'll show you some of the other ones that I have done. So this one was made with a lighter green color for the main wreath, and then I've added these little jingle bells on there just to give it a little bit of a different look. And then I have another one where I used white bands, and I decided not to add a bow on this one. So you can see I just have these little metallic beads. I put 2 on each one, and I used a needle and thread to thread the beads onto the bands. And then for this one, what I used was a twisty tie to thread the bands through the jingle bells. And I got the beads and the bells at my local craft store. So there's a lot of different options that you can choose to make your wreath look unique. And let me just point out that when I added the bow for these 2 wreaths, I used 13 sets of bands for the inner circle, but when I made this one that didn't have a bow, I only used 12 because I wanted the number of bands and beads to be even. But for this one, they're not quite even because I wanted to leave a space open to put the bow on. So as I said, we're going to be doing this one today. So for your bands, you will need 61 green bands, and I have the Rainbow Loom dark green color. And then you will need 9 red for the little berries and for the bow. And then I have my 1 single magnet and of course my hook. So the main design for the wreath is 1 single band that is quadrupled and slid onto another band. So you want to start by taking 1 green band, and you're going to quadruple it on your hook. So you're just putting it on, you're going to twist and put it back on, twist, put it back on, and then 1 more time, twist and put it back on. And then you're going to take this and slide it onto another green band. So you're just going to put it on the end of your hook, and then take these 4 loops and just slide it right onto about the center of that band. And I would recommend that you try and have your bands as straight as possible when they're on here. So they're not going to be perfect, but the smoother and straighter they look, the better your wreath is going to look. So just take a minute and try and get them to be lined up and not too twisted or crossed. So that looks pretty nice. And you want to set that to the side. And you're going to make 27 of these green on green. So let me show you again. You're taking 1 band and quadrupling it on your hook. So you're just twisting and putting it back on until you have 4 loops on there. And then you're taking another green, putting it on the end of the hook there, and then sliding this on. Put it to right about the center, and then just take a second to try and get them nice and straight. And then put it to the side. So you're going to do this, as I said, 27 times. And then as far as the red bands go, you're going to need to do 6 of these. So you're just going to take a red and quadruple it. So you're doing that same concept as you did with the green. You're just twisting and putting it back on until you have the 4 loops. And then these are going to slide onto green bands. So you're just going to take 1 green and then slide the red up. Try and get it evened out. And then place it to the side. So you can pause the video here and make all of your bands. And then when you're done, you can play it again and I'll show you what to do next. Now at this point, you should have 27 green on green, 6 red on green, 1 green band that's going to be to close it up at the end, and then 3 red for the bow. So you're going to take your washer or your magnet, and what you're going to do is take one of the green bands, and you want to put one end through the center hole, and sort of pinch it in your fingers so you have the 2 loops here. You're going to pick it up from the back and then the front on your hook. And now you want to take this front band that's closest to the end of your hook and slide it through the one in the back. So you're just going to have that one single band left on your hook. And then you want this quadrupled part to be pretty much right in the middle here, covering up this metal. And then you're going to take your next one, and again you're going to stick it through the hole in the middle, sort of pinch it in your fingers. Taking your hook, you want to pick it up from the back first and then the front. And now you're going to take this band that's on the end and it's going to slide through the other 2 that are on your hook. So just carefully get it to go through both of those. So again, you're only going to be left with 1 on your hook. And then you're just going to continue doing this all the way around until you do 13 rubber bands here. So here's my 3rd one. Getting it from the back first and then the front. And then it's just sliding through the other 2. And you're probably going to have to adjust these quadrupled bands every time to try and get them to cover the face here. So now I'm working on the 4th one here. And of course, the fuller it gets, it's going to get a little bit harder to work with. Sliding it through the other 2, and then every time I'm just going to put these quadrupled bands forward. So this is my 5th one. And now I'll do a 6th. Slide it through here. So you can see we're about halfway around. So that was the 7th. And the 8th. And if you feel like it's getting really full, you can just push it, force it back a little bit. You do have a little bit of wiggle room to work with. So this one's the 10th. I have 3 more to do here. Again, I'm going to keep pushing back on these so I can see the magnet. So this is the 12th one. And as I said, if you're doing something that you're not adding a bow like this and you want it to be even, you're going to just need to do 12, so you would stop here. But for this one I'm doing 13. So this will be my last one. It gets a little bit harder to see which ones you're grabbing when it's so full. And again, I'm getting these quadrupled bands to go towards the front. So that's what it's going to look like when you have the first layer on. And now we're going to jump right into the next layer. So I'm still leaving this single band on my hook. And now if you look at the top section here of my magnet, you can see that I have these bands that go all the way across. And that's what we need to be getting our hook underneath of as we're adding this next layer. So I'm going to work around here to the left. And there's always going to be 2 bands together. So I want to take my hook and I want to go underneath these first 2 bands. And then I'm going to grab one of my green on green, take one loop. It's going to slide underneath of these 2 green bands. And now I want to get the other side of it on. So at this point there'll be 3 bands on. And the one that's on the end here is going to slide through the other 2. And now what I want to do is go down through this same section because we need to make this wider. So wherever I have green on green, it's going to be 2 sets going through the same section of bands. So once again, these 2 bands here that are on the magnet, I'm just going to go through those a second time, and then I'll take another green on green, grab the end, it's going to go through these 2, and then before I do any more looping, I'm picking up the other side, and then the very end is going through the other 2. So I have those 2 sets going through the same one on the back here. Now on this next one I'm going to add a red, and for the red I'm only going to do 1 set. So again, I need to take my hook and go underneath of these 2 that are against the magnet or washer, and this time I'm taking the red, same thing, it's going underneath, and then you're putting it back on your hook, and then the end goes through the other 2. So for the reds it's just going to be that 1. So then we're on to the next one in line here. So my hook's going underneath, I'm getting 2 green here. The one end slides underneath of the other 2, and then back on my hook, and then through the other 2. So it's just important that you keep doing it in that same order every time, or it's going to look different. And now again, I'm going through this same 2 bands that are against the magnet, because we're always doing 2 sets underneath the same one for green. Coming through, then going back on, and then sliding through the other 2. So it does get very full and crowded, and you can play around with it at the end to fix it because it is going to look a little bit squished. Now for this next one here, it's going to be just 1 red, so I'm going underneath, and then the red band, well, the green part is coming underneath, going back on, and then through the other 2. So since we're only doing 1, I'm moving on to the next one, and you can see I keep pushing this quadrupled band down so you can get a better view here of where you need to be going under. So we're just going right under this next one, and we'll do 2 different sets of green. So here's the first one. And now I'm going back under that same one to do my second one. And now for the next one, it's just going to be the one with the red. So it's just in every other pattern. And oh, here comes the next one. Whoops, I lost it there. And now I want to go back under the same one. So for this next one, we have a red. Just make sure as you're going underneath there, you're getting under both of the bands, because there are going to be two every time to go underneath. So I'd say we're more than halfway done here. So this is my first green. And I'll go back down through the same set and do my second. And now the next one's going to be red. Can be a little bit tricky getting underneath of these bands. So just take your time, make sure you're getting underneath both. And as I said, I keep pushing the quadrupled bands towards the front and also these ones towards the back so I can see clearly where I need to be. And now under the same ones again. And now there should be two left here. So the next one's going to be red. And then finally on this last one, I'm going to do the two different green. And then back underneath again. This is my last one. And now I have this band on the end here that's loose, so I need to tie it off, and I want it to come all the way around here. So from where I started, I'm just going to go underneath the back here. Just go underneath of some of these bands, and then I'll take my last single green band here and I'll just pull it through, put it back on my hook, slide one end through the other and pull that nice and tight to make a slip knot. So you're going to have this loop on the back, but we can hide that then. And so now you'll have to just take a minute and try and even this all out. So just stretch it out and try and get all of these quadrupled bands to go right next to each other. Since the greens are on the same, they sort of smush together. The reds are a little bit more separated since they're singles. But if you just take a minute and try and get them to go more flat, it just makes it look a lot nicer. You want them to be like right next to each other. And then if you see a little bit of silver shining through, you can just slide these quadrupled bands more towards the middle to hide that. So I think it looks pretty neat right now. Now the last thing we have to do is add the bow. So you should have 3 red bands for this. And what you're going to do is take 2 of the red bands and place them together. And then you want to take your fingers and you want to pinch that right in the center. You're going to take your other red band and you want to kind of pinch that as well. And now this one has to wrap around these other 2. So it can be a little bit tricky to do. Sort of lost that there. Trying to get them all pinched together here with the single band underneath crossing over the other 2. And now I'm just going to take my hook and grab the bottom and then also the top. And the one end is going to go through the other. And I'm going to pull that nice and tight. Just want to make sure that your loops are staying on either side here. I'm going to pull that and make the slip knot. So that's what's going to make your nice little bow. And now you're going to have to get it to go through here where you want it to be. So there should be 2 quadrupled green bands on the left and then 2 on the right. So you want to get that bow to go right in the middle. So I'm just going to reach my hook through from the back, grab this loop and pull it straight through. And you can adjust this to how you want it. And now on the back, you're going to have this green loop and this red loop. So what I am going to suggest is to tie them as if you were tying a shoelace. I think if you do it one time, that should be enough, but you could do it twice if you wanted. And now all you have to do is hide these loops. So if you just want to work your way around the back of the magnet here, go against the magnet and go under some of the bands and just pull this through. You can just work your way around until it's totally hidden underneath. Same thing for the red. Really doesn't matter what direction you go, as long as you just get it hidden underneath. And then your wreath is complete. And if you use the magnet, you can hang it on the refrigerator for the holiday season, or it would be cute to take to work and stick to your desk or a filing cabinet. And then of course here's the other ones that I had shown you at the beginning. So there's lots of different options you can choose. I hope that everyone loves their new little wreath decorations. You can always leave me comments on YouTube and Facebook, post pictures of your creations to my Facebook page, and please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on my latest tutorials. You can also find me on Pinterest and Instagram, so please feel free to subscribe to those as well. Thanks for watching!